Good morning, Ram Fam, and welcome to another edition of Come Look at My Crappy Builds. No, that's not the title of it. But today we are going to be talking about the best Safi Jiva greatsword builds. If you're watching this right now, it is the last day of Safi Jiva. There are a lot of different builds that you can make that were made possible with Safi Jiva, and I could make a video on all of those weapons, but that would be so many videos, and I stream too much. So we're just going to cover greatsword today. I am using my buff body build, but that is not the build we're going to be using or talking about. There's another review for that. If you want to see this build right now and watch me talk about it, go look at that video. But today we're going to talk about a handful of other great swords that are really good and are only possible because of Safi Jiva. So first, we're just gonna get right into it because I recorded this before and the video got messed up. So we're doing it again. Here we go. This greatsword build right here. By the way, isn't it kind of? Oh, how do you guys feel about being just doing this in one take? I don't edit anything out. I feel like it creates a more of a personal connection with me and the audience who are maybe watching. Either way, I just like doing things this way. I also don't know how to edit very well, so deal with it. Okay, so moving on. This build right here, an updated version of the four-piece Volcana crit draw build, only made possible with Safi'Jiiva greatsword weapon itself. Basically, this is it takes the place of the Rathalos crit draw greatsword build as the best crit draw greatsword build you can make for Safi'Jiiva, or in general. I mean, this setup right here pretty much is a carbon copy of if you were to make a Rathalos greatsword crit draw build. And basically, instead of using the Rathalos greatsword, you're using the Safi'Jiiva greatsword, which is considerably better. It's higher elemental and achieves more purple sharpness. So I can actually show you how much better this is. Not by numbers, of course, but I did the testing. I swear I did the testing, but this is actually significantly better than the Rathalos greatsword build, and as well as the Velkhana build. Well, the Velkhana greatsword crit draw build, you just need handicraft. You don't need to worry about protected polish. So you may want to use the Velkhana build. I haven't tested the ice version of this build, but I'm certain that doing the ice version would still be better. This is the Rathalos version of this build. As you can see, less elemental, less raw attack, less purple sharpness, just less of everything. The only thing the Rathalos greatsword has over the Safi Jiva greatsword build is it has more base affinity, which isn't really too hard to fit in here. So this would be the superior build, mathematically speaking. It should be noted with my builds, though. It should be noted with all of my builds is I try to build them for comfy because most people that are looking up builds, chances are you're going to need some comfy, and this build has that comfy, assuming you have the decos. So you have your 3 health, you have your 3 divine blessing. Here comfy right there. You need 4 handicraft. Well, you don't need 4 exactly. You don't need 4 exactly to get purple sharpness, but the more purple sharpness you have, because you don't have master's touch, the less you have to worry about keeping it sharpened. And also be noted, if by chance you don't have any of these decos right here, you'll have less health, and that's okay. You can just drop some of the attack decos, add some comfy health right there. This build also right now is optimized for the decos I have. You can still make this build without these 2 handicraft decos. All you would have to do is drop these 2. Drop those 2 handicraft decos. Add a handicraft here. Bam, you have the same build without having to need 2 handicraft plus decos. Put 2 fire. And the only thing you would miss out on is just 1 attack. Okay, there. I don't know why I dropped that other one. And you have the same build without having to have the 2 handicraft decos. So if you're making elemental crit draw, I would highly suggest you using this build right here. Purple sharpness adds a lot more damage to your elemental crit. It really does. So that's why I went with going for the purple sharpness, going for sharpness 6 over elemental 6 for the Safi weapon, and then worked out perfectly. So swap out whatever element you want for whatever kind of crit draw weapon you want to make, and there you go. Next weapon we are going to talk about, our next build, is This one I feel is the best one I made, so that's why I wanted to start with it. I know things get worse. I'm sorry, but things get worse. Okay, Safi Jiva greatsword build, and there's a lot of interesting things about this build that you guys should be aware of. Number one, these builds work. That's number one. Number two, you can build them a handful of different ways. And number three is you don't actually want to use resentment at all. And I'm going to tell you why exactly here in a bit. I can show you in the. I can actually show you in the training room if you. You know what? It's easier if I just show you. You know, easier if I show you. But the main reason you don't want to use resentment, as opposed to other builds, every other full Safi'Jiiva build uses resentment pretty much. But with greatsword, you don't really want to use resentment because you ideally want to use health augment, like health augment and greatsword, and go hand in hand. You know, it's like burgers and fries. You know, apple pie and I don't know intercourse. You know, they go hand in hand. So why are you not using resentment and just health augment? It's because every time, it's because you can't really, you can't really regen. You can't really regen, or you can't really keep the damage bonus up from a resentment while you're regenning with the health augment. And if you had to pick either the damage bonus from resentment or the health bonus from the health augment, you definitely want to go with the health augment. Because also, I was supposed to go show you, but I got I got ranting about greatsword because you know what? Let me show you. Let me show you. I'm sorry. Let me show you. Look at me, just blabbering on like an idiot. But the thing is, you gain health actually too fast for resentment to actually kick in with its damage. And I'll just show you right now, really fast. So. And also, you don't gain health back very well from the Safi'Jiiva set bonus. It takes something like 5 hits, and Greatsword doesn't do that many consecutive hits. It really doesn't. So, like here, for instance, where is the extra damage from resentment? You know, where would it? Do you see any red? I certainly don't. Resentment takes like a slight moment to proc, and if you have a health augment, it's not going to proc on Greatsword at all. So that's why. Also, another thing to note is it takes a lot of hits to regen. It takes a lot of hits to regen your health back with Safi without the health augment. So you're best off just relying on the health back from health augment over the Safi'Jiiva bonus. There it is. It takes a full combo plus rolling into a tackle to get that health back. You know what? You know what else I realized? It would be better if you guys heard it, because for some reason I have my game. You know what? I just woke up. Please don't judge me. I just woke up. So now you can hear it. Hopefully I land everything. Okay, and then the roll. There's that heal. So in order to get health back from the Safi'Jiiva set bonus, you need to do the full combo plus rolling into a tackle at the end, which is the most efficient way to get your health back, which is not something you're going to be able to do regularly unless a monster is downed or trapped or something, you know? So that's, long story short, don't use resentment. And the thing about that is you also don't want to use peak performance either, because if you whiff, there goes your peak performance. So not only do you have to worry about like getting hit to maintain peak performance, but if you happen to whiff, there goes it too. So peak performance doesn't really work that well. Resentment doesn't work at all, at least if you're using a health augment. So this is the build. There are 3 different ways you can make this build. I have a part breaker here mostly because I was using this for Safi'Jiiva. But if you don't want to use part breaker here, what would you use? Actually, I'm not sure. But this was meant for, I guess it was meant specifically for dealing with Safi'Jiiva. I imagine you could plug in more handicraft, put in double attack deckos if you were blessed enough to have them. This does add up to exactly 100% crit. And the thing is, there are a number of ways you can do it depending on your playstyle, depending on what you're fighting. 4 crit eye, 2 weakness exploit, 5 from the weapon, 10 from the health augment, 10 from Agitator, adds up to 100%. So there's a couple different ways you can make this build. And because we're not using peak performance or resentment, we have a lot more flexibility with what we can put in it. Speaking of which, these are the other versions of the build. This version of the build, I believe, what is this version using? I didn't even check. This version is using attack. Yeah, like I said, you can just plug in some attack. Instead of using crit eye here, I used attack that goes, which you should have this far into Iceborne. You should have some attack that goes level 1. Don't ask me about double attack that goes. I don't have a single one in over 1,000 hours of playing Iceborne. Not a single double attack that go. But this version of the build has no crit eye whatsoever. Build gets 100% crit though. Let's see what else. Essentially the same builds, different decos. You know. And this version right here, I think this is the version that I'm using. Is it? No, that is not. It's not this. That's the same. I think that's the same version. Let me see. This version. This is the version I'm using. It has the most attack, and it has a more neat, like, organized amount of skills. It has 3 blight resist, which is pretty nice to avoid in Iceborne, honestly, is having 3 blight resist. So this one has the most, like, set amount of skills. Not getting that extra recovery that was on the other builds. Still have 100% affinity. Again, if you don't have double handicraft that goes, like I said, all you would have to do is swap out the Challenger charm for the handicraft charm, and it's literally the same build. So for those of you who are wondering, like, Ramiz, how do you have these rare decos? They don't matter. They literally don't matter. They don't. Just, like, use the charm. It's the same thing. So these are not as valuable as you would think. Only for very, very, very specific builds, you need, like, double handicraft decos. So this is the version of the build I would use. Again, I make all my builds for comfy because who doesn't like a little comfort in their life? If you don't like comfy, I'm sure you can squeeze in some extra attack here and there. But I mean, I like survivability. I don't speedrun. I fun run. Okay, so those are the Safi Jiva builds. Now full set Safi Jiva. Nothing too fancy, but I wanted to show off like what these kinds of builds would look like for Great Sword, and the fact that you wouldn't use resentment on them or peak performance. Now, the fun Great Sword builds that are possible because of Safi Jiva. We are going to start with, where is it? These builds are my favorite. This build right here. This is a 7 Agitator build. 7, you heard right, 7 Agitator. Why would I make a 7 Agitator build? Because why not? Just to prove that you can. We still get 100% crit, of course. You always want to aim for that with any of your builds. But more importantly, we have that 7 Agitator. So is 7 Agitator, like, worth it at all? I mean, it's okay. you get 28 attack. It's 28 attack and 20% affinity, and, like, most, like, monsters have, like, 95% and rage uptime, so Agitator is not a bad skill to have at all. But the point of making this build was just to show that you could make it and how you would make it. So you could make these before in base game, but what makes them really interesting because of Safi is the fact that you can also have Master Such. So not only is this 7 Agitator, but it's also Master Such. So 3-piece Teostra, 3-piece Brachydios with the Brachydios set bonus. The extra one being on the weapon. 7 Agitator and Master's Touch. And also 100% affinity. So as long as it's wounded at least. Okay, so the point of this build is that it's possible, and you want to just be different. Everyone likes being different. Now, unfortunately, there are some useless skills on this build, like artillery. You know, that's on the boots. Can't get rid of the artillery on the boots, so just deal with it. Okay, moving on though. Can you guess what's next? I'll tell you what's next. It's Max Might. Yeah, here it is. The Max Might build. This build here Now, even a more useless skill that we're making use of is Max Might. Where is the okay, why am I just derping right now? Oh, here we go. Max Might. This is a 5 Max Might build. Again, 100% affinity. We don't have 3 focus, and actually for good reason. Number 1, we couldn't fit in 3 focus. That's number 1. Number 2, having full focus actually works against Max Might, because the faster you can get off your charge, the less time you have for your focus or the less time you have for your stamina to reach full. Which means that if you are doing tackle in the true charge slash, tackle uses up stamina, the longer it takes for your stamina to, well, not the it, the shorter, or the faster your attack goes off. You know, there is a very small chance that you may not have full stamina by the time that attack goes off, because focus is making your attack go off faster. So fortunately, I did the testing, and 2 focus is perfectly fine. It doesn't mess with max might at all. You will always have enough stamina after a tackle, and even after 2 tackles, into true charge slash, you will have enough stamina to pull off to get the extra affinity for max might. So we reach 100% affinity, easy peasy. The build works perfectly fine. Unfortunately, with these builds, you aren't able to get in peak performance, which kind of sucks. But it's okay. Like, the build still does perfectly fine, and you're being different, and everyone wants to be different and special. So if you want to be different and special, not use like the build everyone else is using, you can make this, and people will be like, "Why are you using this build?" And you can tell them, "Because I can." So there you go. Now, the final build is the build I'm most proud of. Is the Max Might and the 5 Max Might and 7 Agitator build. This build is my favorite because it uses 2 completely, mostly worthless set bonuses and combines them into one to make it. I don't know. I don't know what they call it, but the point is, doesn't this look really cool? I just made this build for fun, but it actually reaches 100% affinity. It reaches 100% affinity. Unfortunately, because you don't have Master Touch, you have to stack a handful of handicraft to get that sharpness. But you shouldn't run out of sharpness with this build. This has as much sharpness as I would say like the Gold Wrath weapon. Well, there's no Gold Wrath greatsword, but you know. But also the only downside with this build is it has no focus. So if you're one of those people that needs focus for your greatsword builds, this is probably not the build for you. If you didn't want to do focus, you could squeeze it in on the charm. You can squeeze in focus on the charm, and then probably you might be able to maintain the sharpness, but probably not. You'd have to like run protected polish, but it would be a completely different build. It would sadly be a completely different build, which I'm not making right now. So this build though is fun though. It really was fun to make and test out, and it performed relatively well. It did. It performed relatively well. And I would use it to just free people out, just give them confused looks on their faces. You know, 7 Agitator, 5 Max Might. Who would make this build? Only I would. But I mean, is it the best? It's certainly the best at being different. So consider this title clickbait. Consider it clickbait. If you okay, fine. If you want the best, here's the best. There. You want to see the best? You come here for just the best build, best Safi Jiva build. Fine, I'll give you the best build. Where is it? Wait, no, that's not. That's my buff body build. There's a video on that. Here's the best. Here's the build. Best Safi Jiva greatsword build. Here it is. There, Master's Touch. Just stack straight attack on your weapon. You have the best build. There. You want the best build? Here it is. I mean, if you want, here we can even, if you wanted to make it more OP, you could just use the Meta Slave helmet, the Gamma Teostor helmet. You do that, drop all your health, stack attack, and there's your best build. You know, but I mean, you can make very, very good builds that could be best at other things. You know, you could do that. But this is your best build, you know? But I don't like calling this a Safi Jiva build because you're just stacking attack on the weapon, you know? So I really don't like calling this a Safi Jiva build. It's the best build, okay? It's the best general purpose build, you know? If you have double attack echoes, you could definitely make this. You could put like a double attack echo here. Stuff like that. But I don't have any, so I don't. Don't make fun of me, please. But this would be the best build. There's your best. There's your meta DPS build. You happy? Are you happy? I just wanted to show you guys some really cool other builds, you know? And either way, thank you for watching. If you made it to the end of the video, you are a champion, and I appreciate you. I will see you guys on Twitch. I will see you guys on Twitch and hopefully on YouTube more. There are more videos on the way, especially Iceborne PC videos. So until next time, see you in the comments and see you on Twitch. And don't forget to hit the buttons. And good night. Did I hit the off button? No, there it is. Okay, good night.